G'day, Mike from Aussie Mike's Bees again, where beekeeping is an obsession. So, what's this episode about? Requeening. Now, back in August, it's January now, middle of summer here in Australia. So back in August I ordered new queens. Why did I do that? Well, first of all, I've got a bunch of really angry hives, and you don't have to put up with that. So back in October, I was doing my Certificate 3 beekeeping training up at Tocal College. That's Australia's trade program for beekeepers. And I was in their hives using bare hands on their bees, and they were beautiful. They were so gentle, and you know, some of the locals said, oh, these are titchy today, but I tell you what, they were so calm. Mine, when I crack open the hive, they're at me straight away. So what's been going on? When I first got these bees, 4.5 years ago, they were beautiful. They were calm, beautiful to work with. But steadily, season by season, they got meaner and meaner. So what happened? Well, sure, they've swarmed. And the virgin queen that was left behind has mated with local drone stock. You've got new genetics coming into the mix. And what does that mean? Well, some of this local drone stock are just plain mean. What do I mean by mean? Well, they're defensive. That means they don't like being inspected, they don't like being handled. Sometimes they don't even want you to be 10 metres away from the entrance. They'll come and attack. Now my wife's been stung and she's not happy about that. These ones in the back here overlook a garden and she wants to get in there and do gardening and doesn't want to be stung. So I've got to relocate those, but that's another story. But in the meantime, I've waited all this time for these queens from a local producer, and he's smashed with people wanting queens from him. Finally, I got a call just before Christmas to say, queens are ready, come and pick them up. And here we are, it's middle of January, they're ready. I've just gone over and picked up 6 brand new queens. They're cute little girls, I'll show you in a minute. Now it's time to requeen. Reason number 1, mean hives like I've got here right now, but also you might have a colony that's queenless. If they've lost a queen and haven't been able to produce their own, you help out by requeening. Now there's a risk with that. It could be that in the time that they've been queenless, some workers might have started laying, and that's a difficult problem. They're then getting that pheromone and they might not accept the new queen. What do you do about that? Well, there's a whole bunch of videos out there on getting rid of laying workers, but it's a bit touch and go, and you know, it took me months to get my queen. I might not want to take that risk. You could do the shakeout method and put the box back and see what happens, but if you're in a hurry, you could do that and then maybe merge them with a strong queen right colony, with the newspaper method, for instance. So that's what you might have to do with a queenless hive that's got a laying worker. What other reason? You might have got a new swarm and they haven't, that's going to be an older queen too, possibly, and she's not really performing, so you can requeen that. You might have an older queen. Commercial guys will replace their queen every year or two just to maintain good quality genetics and a good productive queen. Some people leave their queens go until natural causes, which I've done. You might have done a cutout and rescued a whole really healthy looking colony with loads of brood comb, but somehow you miss the queen. And that colony's not queen right. And if you can get access to a queen right away of known genetic stock, you're in business. Just slip her in there, they're all good. Anyway, what have we got to do now? So I've got my bunch of new queens to put in. The first step is to get rid of the old queens. You can't go putting a new queen into a colony that's already got a queen. They'll kill her. I'm going to go through, first of all, find that old queen, take her out and pinch her off. She's dead. Then the colony takes a couple of hours before they know that they're queenless. General consensus is leave it at least a couple of hours and maybe even until the next day before you introduce the new queen. They'll be ready to receive her scent there. So I'm going to start with this first one. Now this one's had a bit of a history of getting really mean over time. It's a nice strong colony and they produce pretty well, but boy, they're getting difficult to work with. But the funny thing is, it's as if they know I'm going to requeen them. Last week I had my nephew's daughter, so I think that makes me a great uncle, right? Up here for the, just for a little holiday. And I invited her into the bees and she was all excited. The weather wasn't the best. It was a bit overcast and cool for summer. I suited her up just to keep her protected, but I thought these guys are really going to hammer us. And it turned out that they were gentle as I've never seen them before. I just couldn't explain that. Maybe the weather just had them calm. My experience is opening them up in not ideal weather makes them angry, but I don't know. If anyone's got a suggestion as to what was happening there. And, you know, for a brief moment I thought, oh, maybe they're okay after all and I don't need to requeen. Well, it took so long for these queens to arrive that I'm not going to chance it. Funny thing, as a demonstration, these two hives, they both came out with the queen easily visible. So I got to show Sigourney those queen bees. You know, I haven't spotted the queen in these ones for maybe 4 inspections. So that was a stroke of luck. Here I've got to get into them. Now this upper box is just the honey super, so I don't really need to look in there. So I'm just going to put that off to the side. Get a bit of smoke up here and give them a puff. So it's been a week since I've been in them. We've had lots of wet weather too. So this is one of the sunny days we've finally got. And get into that brood box. The bee numbers are good here and the activity at the front is brilliant. Pretty solid laying pattern. Now my job here is, as always, look for pests and diseases. They're starting to come at me. They're not happy. I'm looking for that queen. No sign of swarm cells. Now she was easy to spot last week. Now this is 2 weeks in a row that these bees have been calm. It's a bit of a mystery to me. Found her. Now, normally I wouldn't bring it up away from the hive because I normally don't want to lose her. But she just crawls around calm as. And she's pretty. Almost seems ashamed to replace her. But 2 inspections ago, they were mean as, and they have been all season. So I'm just going to clip her, and I can't catch her with my gloved fingers. Ah, there she is. She crawled over the other side when I wasn't watching. So that's all I need to do inside here. This super's not heavy. They're still drawing it out. I only put it on a few weeks ago and it's been wet since then, so I haven't been able to pull in anything. I'll just have a little peek. Oh, lots of bees up there. So 1 queen down, 5 more to go. If I get time this afternoon, I'll introduce the new ones. Otherwise, I'll do it tomorrow morning. It's the next day. After that first hive finding and killing the queen, I then moved on to the second hive. That's the right hand one that you see here. She was easy to find and killed. Then I went on to other hives. So here's the new queen, a young, freshly mated. She's been tested by my supplier, so she's been laying. It's got a few attendants in there. This is a plug of candy for them to chew through. The other end's plugged with wood. The bees in the hive eat through the sugar, and eventually they'll make a tunnel through, and the queen will be released along with her attendants. And by then, they'll all be happy with each other's smell. If all goes well, they'll fully accept her and she'll get to work laying eggs, hopefully within days. I won't go back in for a couple of weeks. Hopefully they'll accept her and she'll be a busy little queen laying eggs, replenishing stock with good genetics. Okay, that's it. They're buzzing all around me now. They're not happy. Fingers crossed. Oh, fingers crossed that I'll settle down over the next day or so, releasing her, and they get used to each other. And well, the plan is that she starts laying eggs of her nice genetics. They're Italians. They've been bred for a nice temperament, reasonable productivity. They do eat their own honey in dearth times a fair bit more than Carniolans, but their temperament's generally better. So if you got something out of this, hit the like button, subscribe if you find any value in my videos, and that'll encourage me to do some more. Thanks very much. This is Mike from Aussie Mike's Bees, where beekeeping is an obsession. Just before we finish up on this video, a little bit of background. This video comes from 12 months ago, January 2021, and I only just found the footage on a hard drive. I'd forgotten all about it, so I thought I'd whip it together for you. I don't have all the video that I originally shot that showed me putting the cages in the frames, so apologies for that. It's not difficult to put those cages in, as long as you sort of are a bit careful about the orientation that you do for it. You don't want the candy plug facing downwards in case the attendant bees die and block the hole, and then the queen can't get out. So you sort of have it angled slightly upwards, and I put the mesh facing down and just jam the cage in between two frames, buried in the wax a bit, and then they can get in and chew the candy out and release the queen. Here's an update of what happened. So that's 12 months ago. 5 of the queens succeeded very nicely and got laying, and those hives are beautiful to handle now, barehanded. Very, very rarely get stung, but that leaves 1. And that was the meanest hive I had. It was from a cutout I'd done probably 6 months or so before I did the queen change. They were just feral. They were horrible. And what they did was kill the new queen. I found 2 emergency cells on a frame and thought, oh, well, I'll leave them to do that. And they made their new queen. And yeah, they're still mean. Maybe not as mean as they were. How long before a mean hive requeened starts being nice? So you think about, it takes 3 weeks before an egg becomes an emerged worker. An average worker will live for 6 weeks. So that's 9 weeks from the egg from the last queen, the mean queen before I pinched her off. So she could have done 1,500 eggs that day. It'll be 9 weeks before they're all gone. But does it take 9 weeks for the mood of the colony to improve? And no, because it's a shifting ratio between all mean to just a little bit of good, growing, growing. So over the course of that 9 weeks, it's steadily improving. It might be 4 or 5 weeks before you notice a substantial change in mood. Well, that was my experience anyway. So don't expect overnight miracles, but it also will be less than the 9 weeks we're talking about. So what am I going to do with that mean hive to get them requeened? Well, the thing about a large, strong, mean colony is that they're more likely to kill a new queen if you put it in. So my approach next time will be to split the colony in 2 and put in 2 new queens. Pinch off the old queen, Definitely don't want her around. And start with 2 new queens in half-size colonies. Now I run singles, and single 8 frames for that matter. I will just split up 2 4 frame in each with all new foundations, so they've got plenty of work to do. That will be a much more successful requeening operation with that colony. If you've got any questions about requeening, I haven't answered all the questions. I've just taken it through what I've done this time round, and the results pretty much positive, 5/6 good.